Hi and welcome to the FreeFormKnits YouTube channel. I'm Haxie and Iris, a knit and crochet whose freeform ways of crafting and led to the world of design. All the places you can find me will be listed down below this video. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. So we're in a bit of a different setup again. If you watched my podcast from the very beginning, you might recognize the setup. I was just in my room. It's a bit messy, but this week has kind of been a little crazy and things haven't gone as planned. So, and you can probably hear my dog barking in the background, but this is going to be a really quick one. Just have a lot of finished objects and some new works in progress to share with you, so we'll just jump right into it. The first finished object is one I am wearing. I actually hit all my knitting goals this week, so I'm really happy with that. So I have room to cast on all the things, but I finished this sweater I'm wearing. I designed this myself, came up with the numbers on myself. I knitted on a US 8, I believe, with a, what's the yarn? Yarn Bees, Soft and Sleek DK, but it's actually more of a fingering and just some amounts I had. So I originally intended for this to be a faded sweater, but then decided that wasn't the look I was going for. So I decided to, I only had this much gray left. So I decided to just use a contrast at the bottom, and I will awkwardly rearrange myself. So you can see I did a little bit of color work here to give like this, like interlocking effect. I don't know how to describe it, and they just ended it with 1x1 ribbing. So I'm pretty happy with it. I was really worried as I was working on it that it wasn't going to turn out right. Like I first thought I was going to fade it, then decided that wasn't what I was going for. Then I was worried about where to put the color change, because I didn't want it to hit the wrong spot. So I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. I was worried I was going to run out for the sleeves. I actually only had, I think 4 grams each for each sleeve. I think I had 4 grams for this sleeve and 4 grams for this sleeve. So I just, and that turned out to be enough. I was really happy about that. I was really afraid that wasn't going to be enough to do the sleeves. I thought I would have to finish it in blue, but I finished it in gray. So I'm pretty proud of it, pretty happy with it overall. I do think, do I like the neckline? I don't know if it's a bit too square. I always go back and forth on how I like my necklines, but overall I'm very happy with it. So this is finished object number 1. The next 3 finished objects are the socks. All the socks I was working on last time are done. I'm so happy with it. So we'll start off with these toe-up socks. So I finally figured out how I like to knit socks toe up. I'm usually a cuff down sock knitter, but I figured out how I like them toe up. I don't do the Judy's Magic cast on. I don't do a Turkish twisted cast on. You can hear the dog. I just cast on regular long tail for as many stitches as I want the smallest part of my toe to be, and then I just go back and cement. So for these socks I did a mattress stitch seam to close it up. And I did a short row heel for toe-up socks. For my cuff down socks I do my shortcut heel, but I did a short row heel just for the simplicity. And I've actually never done a wrap and turn short row heel, so that was my first time doing that, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And I ended with a stretchy bind off. I plan to have in future on my channel to have a complete video tutorial on how I knit my toe-up socks, because I think it's super simple rather than fiddling with those cast-ons. I'm just not good at those cast-ons. I always manage to mess them up, but I'm pretty proud of these. And these are Patton's Croy. I meant to bring the yarn label, but I don't think I did. I said it in my previous episode what the yarn colorway was. I think it's like Rocking 70s Stripes, something 70s, something with a number. I don't recall, but they're really nice, and these socks are going in my they're going in a like gift pile to start stockpiling socks for gifts. So, and my sock blockers are Knit Picks medium. I'm just throwing information out there. But yeah, and I knit all my socks on a Cowl 2.275mm needle. So I think US 2.5 is the correct number. So that's sock number 1. And then sock number 2 is also toe-up sock, knit exactly the same way, except they are worsted weight. And this is the first pair of worsted weights, actually only my second pair of worsted weight socks ever. I think my very first sock was a worsted weight sock. but I haven't knit them since, and I love them so much. So I did the same thing for the toe, but I did do a German short row heel for these socks. And I think I'll stick with the, I think if I were going to do between the two, I would have rather done a German short row heel on this one and then a wrap and turn on this one, just because of the gauge. You can really see, like, it doesn't look too bad here, but my corners, I kind of, like, I do a little stitch correction thing with the fabric to kind of eliminate those corners. But I think I would have had better luck doing this at a smaller gauge than this. Like, I would have done, it would have been better to do the short row heel on the worsted weight socks, because it would have hidden the hole a bit better in the bulkier gauge than it needed to here. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But anyway, I knit these on a US size 8. I actually knit them on double pointed needles. I think I talked about this in my last podcast. I bought this pair of double point needles and was really surprised how much I like them. So that's that. Size 8, I used Yarn Bee ID, which is a blend of acrylic and polyamide. And I don't recall the colorway because, once again, I forgot the ball band, because that's the theme for this podcast, the things I forgot. So that's that pair of socks. And this one I actually did a 2x2 rib and a sewn bind off, which I like the sewn bind off for socks, or for doing 2-up socks. I find it's not, so like this I did like a bind off in pattern and then did an extra knit 2 together to bind off. So this is really stretchy, but it flares. This one doesn't flare. It keeps its shape, but it's not like, it doesn't come in at all. Like, it kind of stretches out the ribbing, I found. So I'll probably experiment with that a bit more. But that's that pair of socks, and I'm really happy with them. They're nice and big and warm, so they'll be great come winter time when you actually need a big, thick, heavy pair of socks. Because right now it is July something or other. It's actually the end of July. It's July 30th. It's not the end of July, but it's soon to be the end of July. So it's nice and hot, and you don't need big bulky socks in nice hot weather. The last finished object and last pair of socks are these ones, and they don't match, but that's okay. They're still a pair because these are made out of scraps. They're both Knit Picks Stroll Tonal. Wow. This one is in the Blue Violet colorway, this one in the Poppy Fields Tonal colorway. This will be a new pattern coming eventually. It shouldn't take me long to write up, just a matter of, you know, getting it tested and scheduled and everything. So I had this one done. I was working on this one. They are a Pico Edge sock. They have my shortcut heel. I did it in stockinette, and they have just a simple garter ridge texture down the front and ends with my hat trick toe. And they are so pretty, so quick, despite how it took me like a ridiculous long time to knit the second one. That was no fault of how quick the sock is, because look, it's just a little shorty. So quick. You could have gotten this, I've gotten shorties done in a day and before, but this one took much longer just because I wasn't working on it. But I'm glad they're done, and I have room on my sock needles for casting on more socks, because I had 3 socks on the needles. I had one of this, and this one on the needles. I've never had 3 socks on the needles before. I am very strictly monogamous when it comes to, I'm not a monogamous knitter. I usually have only one type of project. Like, I never have 2 sweaters on the go. I never have 2 pairs of socks, or never 2 shawls. And when it does happen, it kind of drives me a little crazy. So I will attempt not to do this again. But I am happy that they are completed. They're completed. It's perfect. And now we move on to whips. So I actually only have 2 whips that I'm going to go through. One is a knit whip, one is a crochet whip. And so we'll start with the knit whip first. Wow. Can't speak clearly. And it is the sock whip that I've been wanting to cast on. And it is the 3rd sock in the garter stitch collection. I'm designing a garter stitch sock collection where it is just very basic vanilla socks, but with garter stitch patterns. So I've finished 2 of the pairs. This is the last one, and I'm knitting these socks out of Yarn Bee in the Color Ideal line, and this is the colorway Magenta. So that's the ball band, and it is a blend of 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, 20% acrylic. And here is the sock. I love it so much. It's these garter triangles. It's so much fun to do. I knit, I think, all of this yesterday, so I'm already halfway through the leg. I'm planning on getting to the heel today. It's just so much fun doing these garter textures. I love how they look. And then the back is just all vanilla. All the socks are going to have my 2x2 rib, and I'm doing the heels in my shortcut heel garter stitch and with my hat trick toe. So this is a collection that will hopefully be coming soon because I love it so much. And once this pair of socks is complete, I will be calling for testers for this collection. You can actually sign up down below to be a tester. I have a special newsletter specifically for test knits. Every time I have native testers, you'll get an email that will give you a link to the Ravelry thread where the test is being held. And if you want to join, you can join in. If you don't, you can just delete the email. You don't have to. Signing up for the newsletter does not mean you have to agree to every test, but it's just a way for you to know. If you want to join in, you can. If you don't, just delete the email. It's fine. So that'll be down below if you want to sign up for that. The last work in progress I have is in this bag. It's my sweater whip. And I just said that I would never have two sweaters going at the same time. That's not true. I have never had two knit sweaters going at the same time. I do tend to have one crochet and one knit sweater. But this is a crochet sweater. I am knitting, I'll put a picture here, I think the Mosaic cropped sweater by, I can't remember anything today. I probably got the name wrong. It'll be on the screen. I'm making this sweater as a way to introduce myself into color work. Crocheted colorwork. I've never crocheted colorwork beyond stripes, so I did finish the yoke, which was one of my, I started this sweater I think right after the podcast last week, and then I had a goal for myself to get past the yoke, and I'm happy to say I did. So here it is. It's in this bright pink colorway, and I'm going to be using white for the little bit of colorwork on the hem and the sleeves. And the yarn I'm using is Baby Bee Sweet Delight in the blue pink colorway, and I think this is, yeah, 60% acrylic, 40% polymer. It's nice good DK weight yarn. I am crocheting on a 4mm hook, and so I like the pattern so far. It actually uses, instead of just half double crochets, it actually uses half double crochets where you're working between the posts, which is really, it's made a nice texture. I did make a mistake, so you're supposed to work, I made modifications first off. So you're supposed to work the post in turned rounds, you're supposed to turn, but I didn't want that seam, so I decided just to go all the way around, which I'm happy I decided because I found out reading the pattern that the color work is actually done all the way around, so you're not turning rows for the color work anyway, so I'm glad I decided to make that modification. I also did modify the yoke. I think I've talked about this before. My body, I don't have a lot of yoke, so when I do top-down sweaters, as much as I love them, the yoke always ends up being too long. I don't need, I think it's mostly my sleeves. I don't need a lot of fabric on my sleeves. I have little min arms. They're just straight stick arms. So when I have a yoke, I need the increases for my bust, but I don't need them for my sleeves. So I always end up cutting my yokes a little bit short and casting on more stitches on the underarm than the pattern calls for. So that's what I did this time, but I've tried this on. It fits. It's growing great. I did say I made a mistake here. So the pattern, when the pattern refers to half double crochets, it means this modified double crochet where you're crocheting between the posts, but it referred to regular crochets as regular crochets, half double crochets. So I just assumed as working through the pattern that it would start doing the other half double crochets. It didn't. Had I read the stitch abbreviations, I would have realized that when they would say half double crochet, they mean modified half double crochet, and when they say regular half double crochet, they mean regular half double crochet. But I didn't, so all my short rows are actually in regular half double crochet because I'm stupid, but that's okay. Actually, my first time doing short rows in crochet, so that was kind of fun. Though I will say the short rows, I don't think I messed them up, but they kind of make the collar line a little weird. Like, I think once I wear it, it's not noticeable, and I think it's kind of gotten less noticeable as I've gotten through the body, but I don't know, it's good, it's okay. The neckline's a little closer than I would like, but that's just because it's crocheted first and then you pick up to set up for your raglan. So it's going good so far. I'm really happy with the pattern, and I really am excited to see the finished project of this sweater. I think it'll be really nice and it'll hopefully turn out exactly the way I want it to. So that's that. That is all I have to talk about this week. It's a bit of a shorter episode, but that's okay. I have a lot of plans for the coming week. Like I said, you can sign up to be a tester if you are interested. You can also sign up for my newsletter. There are a lot of fun things coming that I'm just planning for. So we're kind of in the planning stages, but if you want to be up to date on it all, you can sign up down below for those things. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. Please take a moment to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos by me. Thank you so much. Happy crafting!